Thank you very much, Deborah. Honorable political leader of the United National Congress and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Members of the UNC executive, my very good friend, Mr. John Jeremy, Professor Kojo, Mr. Warner, candidates, Jerome Lewis, whose voice you hear on the prayer every UNC meeting. UNC family, brothers and sisters, thank you for welcoming me here tonight. I am very happy to have this opportunity this is where, in St. Joseph is where I began my political career. And I'm happy. I didn't think, having spent the last 14, 15 years in Barbados, I would have had another opportunity to come back to St. Joseph to say thank you and to end my political life on a St. Joseph platform once again. But I'm happy it is this platform. I am happy it is with the UNC family. Because, and let me just digress a little bit. I want to humbly apologize to my friend, Mr. John Jeremy. I want to humbly apologize to my sister, Karen Teixeira. There is no circumstance where any leader should feel that they have a right to call somebody a dog. So I want to take this opportunity publicly, John, to say thank you for your service. And I'm sorry for any hurt that may have caused you and your family. But tonight I want to share 3 things with you. You see, one of the big issues we have in Trinidad and Tobago, and that discourse, that dialogue, demonstrates why we have to be much more circumspect as to who we put to lead this country. Because the very things that are wrong with that level of dialogue is the very reason why today, if you want to have an example of leadership, if you want to have an example of what it is to lift people up, if you want an example of what it is to love, then we have no choice but to vote for the United National Congress and Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Trinidad and Tobago is in a crisis. And it is not me who say that. It is evident by the fact that when the selected or appointed Prime Minister assumed the position, he made, among other things, 3 decisions. The first one is that he terminated the portfolio of the Minister of Finance. The second one is that he terminated the portfolio of the Minister of National Security. And the third one, that he called a general election. When a party goes to an election, they run on the record of what they have achieved. The fact that he could fire the Minister of Finance and the Minister of National Security says that he has no confidence in the work that they were doing. But the philosophy of collective responsibility that embodies a cabinet means that if you could fire them, then we have no choice but to fire you. How can they sit for the last 10 years and you hear all kinds of things, you hear all kinds of promises, but what you're not hearing is what they did? And as a good Catholic, therefore, I will tell them that they have 2 problems: sins of commission and sins of omission. They need to be terminated, and they need to no longer hold the corridors of power because of the things they did that failed and because of the things that they failed to do. One of the biggest problems we have, and one of the bright philosophies of this platform, is that here a leader who is confident in her own skin is not afraid of encouraging other voices. Is not afraid of bringing in a coalition of interests. Is not afraid to have other people sit around the table. Because we know that there is no monopoly on good ideas. We know that the task ahead will require all our involvement. We know that to lift Trinidad and Tobago from this abyss that it is facing requires everybody to get involved. I don't want to spend a lot of time reflecting on what is happening on the other side. But I want to tell you that the task ahead, we should not underestimate what is required. It is known that Trinidad and Tobago is facing a debt of $130 billion. It is known that there are lots of projects that are incomplete. In fact, I had to chuckle a little bit to myself when I saw that the new Minister of Finance could therefore say at a cottage meeting somewhere in the West that all the things happened, he wasn't here, but he's here now. So you could find money to put in the Exim Bank, FX to put in the Exim Bank for SMEs. But my dear friends, what you're not hearing them saying, and I was brilliantly pointed out by my sister Khadija Amin, is what they're doing for the ordinary people of Trinidad and Tobago. You need FX too, not just the SMEs. You need to have access to FX for you to travel, to pay your credit cards. So don't just create that side hustle. Fix the FX system, but it's okay. I am sure Mrs. Prasad Bisesa will do that when she becomes Prime Minister. But what also made me, what I found passing strange, was that here is this person sitting in the chair of the Minister of Finance, who for very many years, ever since we were there, I know him as a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance. He sat in London as the High Commissioner for the government of Trinidad and Tobago. If you sat down there and you had all these ideas that you have now, why didn't pick up the phone and call somebody? Call somebody, call one of your former colleagues, call your former boss. But no, all of a sudden, they all have all kinds of ideas. And yet, for the last 10 years, they sat by and they looked after not the people of Trinidad and Tobago. They did not look after the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And so, my dear friends, that is why it is very fortuitous that in this Easter season, they call the elections. Because one of the things, and I can't help think as a Catholic, that Easter talks about is the resurrection. Light over darkness. And in this resurrection, in the dawn when you come to a new day, you will then have the symbol of the rising sun. And that rising sun will lead us to a new day. We need to become much more diversified. We need to fix the FX. We need to bring foreign direct investment. And you can't bring foreign direct investment unless you fix people not bringing money unless they know they're taking it back out. The work ahead of us is substantial. I don't have a lot of time to speak, so I can't say all that I want to say. But I want to say two things. People go where they are welcome, they stay where they are valued. And this is a platform where people are valued. Ideas are welcome, and everybody's voice have a place. I have always lived in my life several things. One is that there are two kinds of people. There are those who wait on the future and those who create a future. In this platform, the future that is going to be created for you, it is to lift you up. It is to make sure that nobody is left behind. It is to make sure that there are no special privileges for the privileged few, but that you who work and toil in the vineyard of Trinidad and Tobago, you have a right to benefit and to grow and to be blessed by that. I remember looking at the US election sometime last year, and there was one line that caught me. That is, in this business and in this platform, it is not enough for you to get by, but for you to get ahead. That is why, when you think about what is at stake, and when you think about what is available to you, you have no choice but to vote for Devish Maharaj in St. Joseph, to vote for Roger Alexander in Tunapuna, to vote for Dr. Chaitan in Aruka, to vote for Kadisha in St. Augustine, and to vote for the UNC up and down, and to make sure that on April 28th, Kamala Prasad Bisesa is the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.